Good afternoon and welcome to the State of the University Address. My name is Mindy Markham and I serve as Faculty Senate President for the 2020-2021 academic year. I want to begin our time today with a land acknowledgement. As the first land-grant institution established under the 1862 Morrill Act, we acknowledge that the state of Kansas is historically home to many Native nations, including the Kaw, Osage, and Pawnee, among others. Furthermore, Kansas is the current home to 4 federally recognized Native nations: the Prairie Band Potawatomi, the Kickapoo Tribe of Kansas, the Iowa Tribe of Kansas and Nebraska, and the Sac and Fox Native Nation of Missouri in Kansas and Nebraska. I have the privilege of working with the president of Kansas State University as part of the tradition of shared governance. To say that this has been a difficult year would be an understatement. During this time, though, I have observed President Myers' continued commitment to Kansas State University. He has had to make difficult decisions, taking into consideration the health and safety of the faculty, staff, and students, while upholding the mission of our land-grant institution. I want to thank President Myers for his leadership, and I now welcome him to share his remarks for the State of the University Address.
Well, thank you, Dr. Markham. And of course, I have the privilege of working with you as well, and I very much appreciate that. It takes all of us to figure our way through these unprecedented times, of which this moment right now is one of them. Somebody could probably correct me, but I think this is our first virtual State of the Union, State of University message. And not surprising, we've been spending the last several months in a virtual world, but here we are with our State of the University. So I welcome everybody to this address. And of course, at the end, we have a lot of folks standing by to help answer your questions, and we look forward to those. We are all very well aware this has been a year like no other. Every one of us, I think, has been challenged by the changes caused by the pandemic and of course, the economic downturn. It's created hardships, disorientation, illness, loss, uncertainty, all adding up to a lot of anxiety. However, on the other side of the coin, in the typical K-State approach, what I saw from all of you was a response that was flexible, innovative, where people persevered, showed great creativity, showed resilience and solidarity. So today we discussed the state of our university, as I want to recognize and thank each of you for all you have done, for all your efforts, for your persistence and your character as we face this crisis together, an unprecedented crisis. And for sure, we're not perfect, but I think we ought to at least take a moment. And I want you to all feel very, very proud of how you've handled every day since March 12th. Like I said, we're not perfect, but we can be proud of what we've done. And I think as we compare ourselves to other universities, every time I do that, I go to a K-Board meeting or whatever, I take great pride in all of us, faculty, staff, and students, as we responded to this new environment. So here are vision and themes that ought to be really familiar with you. They come right out of 2025. And we're going to look at these themes through a COVID-19 lens. That's how we're going to start off today. You've seen them many times. These are the themes that we used when we embarked on our journey in 2011 to become a top 50 public research university by the year 2025. We announced last year that we would refresh that plan, but then we were hit with a coronavirus pandemic, and the economic downturn. It has impacted and challenged us in every respect. So today I want to highlight how our response to the pandemic has aligned with all our themes, and then later I'll talk about how we're going to deal with moving 2025 forward and our other planning. Next slide, please, Jordan. So COVID and it's how we reacted in terms of scholarly and creative activities and discovery. You know, we've always had cutting edge research here at Kansas State, and that has continued throughout this difficult year. However, the pandemic caused some of our research to pivot to learn more about the virus. And I want to highlight just a few of the ways that our COVID-19 related research is helping the world solve the pandemic. Wathaka Mwangi, professor of diagnostic, they have so many words there to pronounce his name, which is actually fairly easy to pronounce. I had to go to the end of that. Professor of diagnostic pathobiology in the K-State College of Veterinary Medicine is partnering with Tonix Pharmaceuticals on a vaccine. He will direct the research into a vaccine based on a technology that he invented. And this started, I believe, right about the time the pandemic was becoming obvious to all of us here in the United States. Holi Young Noon is associate professor in biochemistry and molecular biophysics, is leading new research consortium that focuses on speeding up research for COVID-19 drug treatment. He is the founder of the open source COVID-19 that is using computational chemistry to minimize the traditional slow research lab work for COVID-19 drug treatments. Yoonjeong Kim and Keon KC is what he goes by Chang. They're virologists in the College of Veterinary Medicine, and they've published a study showing a possible therapeutic treatment for COVID-19. The photo there is of Kim and Chang. And then there was a K-State study, the first to show that COVID-19 is not transmitted by mosquitoes. Stephen Higgs conducted that study. He's Associate Vice President for Research and Director of the university's Biosecurity Research Institute. And he did it together with colleagues from the BRI and the College of Veterinary Medicine. And those findings were published in July by Nature Scientific Reports. So those are, I think, 4 really good examples of how our research and discovery is been impacted by COVID-19 and accelerated around our capabilities there. It's something we should all be very, very proud of. Next slide, please. And even though the pandemic, through the pandemic, we are seeing record research awards. Here are the awards for FY20. You can see the number there. And 1,138 awards is a really nice number. A new grants management system was implemented to improve electronic workflow and data management, unveiled in January of 2020, which was key in continuing fundraising submissions and awards throughout the shutdown and the reawakening of campus. This growth is because of K-State's hardworking research faculty first and excellent research administrative support centrally and across the university. These individuals are helping faculty find more opportunities and submit more successful proposals than ever before. As people say, success breeds success, and we're having success. Next slide, Jordan. Themes 2 and 3 are undergraduate and graduate educational experiences. And let me just understate it and say that this year's experience was unlike any other. We sent students away after spring break and didn't let them come back. They had to figure out how to shift and finish their studies online and find the character and perseverance to persist amid unknown and often difficult personal situations. They did all of that, and then they came back this fall. Through it all, they still told the Princeton Review that they love K-State. In the 2020 edition of the best 385 colleges, our students' responses led to K-State being ranked #1 for happiest students, #2 for students love these colleges, and #3 in the nation for best quality of life and best health services. These rankings and students' associated comments, even in the middle of a pandemic and an upheaved world, reflect that our faculty and staff care, really care about the educational experience here at K-State. So I thank the students, but I thank the faculty and staff for all of that. If we didn't work together so well, we would not have those kind of rankings. Next slide, please, Jordan. I wonder how many recognize what this is. This is a bag of flour. And I only know because they they made me fill a couple of these bags. I'm lucky my finger's not in one of them. Theme 4 is engagement, extension, outreach, and service. And here the university again really shined during COVID. The arrival of the coronavirus changed so much of our behavior. There were shortages of products you wouldn't expect, and development of new must-have attire, face masks, for instance. As a state's land-grant university, it is our mission to serve our state, nation, and world. So it's not surprising to see how K-Staters stepped up to take on this fight. Fabric face masks were made by local volunteer sewers in a project coordinated by Kansas State University and the Department of Interior Design and Fashion Studies in the College of Health and Human Sciences. 3D printed face shields were created by members of the Digital Fabrication Club in the Kansas State University College of Architecture, Planning, and Design, and distributed to healthcare facilities. Faculty members responded to a request from KDHE and used their expertise to assist with testing samples in state labs, giving state workers some much needed rest when this all started. The Department of Grain Science and Industry brought the Hal Ross flour mill back online to manufacture flour for those in need in the local community. You might remember there was a time when you couldn't find flour on the shelves, and hosted a drive-through flour distribution in June. And I probably have these numbers wrong. It was between 15,000 and 20,000 10-pound bags of flour. A collaborative team of more than 20 faculty and staff partnered to develop important diagnostics tests to begin offering testing services for the university community at the BRI. And then our Student Outbreak Response Team, or SORT, at Kansas State University is assisting the Riley County Department with its COVID-19 efforts, including conducting contact tracing. The team includes vet med and Masters of Public Health students. So putting everybody to work. Next slide, please, Jordan. Economic development and technology transfer certainly didn't stop during COVID. In fact, in many cases, sped up. The K-State Research Foundation and the Institute for Commercialization merged earlier this year to form the Kansas State University Innovation Partners. The new entity better represents and describes the organization's national leadership position in technology, commercialization, economic development, and corporate engagement. The pandemic hasn't slowed the need for innovation, and in fact, it has allowed K-State to embrace our strengths. K-State Innovation Partners closed a record 35 licensing or option agreements in FY20. Near record annual licensing revenue of $3.29 million. 4 of the licensed or option technology portfolios have a direct impact on the fight against COVID-19, providing both the therapeutic and vaccine candidates to fight the disease. All of these technologies are based on many years of research leading up to their commercial deployment, which further shows the relevance of the work that has been happening at K-State for decades in world-class facilities such as the BRI. Additional COVID-19 treatments continue to be developed, disclosed, licensed, and further tested and validated with investment and insight from our commercial partners as we speak today. K-State and the state of Kansas should be proud of the impact they are having in this fight against this disease. Additionally, due to our economic development activities, 29 companies have moved to our community in the last several years and have grown their employee counts by 100 people in the past year to total 600 total employees who are contributing to the local and regional economy. Quite impressive in these trying times of limited travel and mobility. And so I'd ask a question. You know, we've used the moniker K-State being the Silicon Valley of bioagro security. I think based on what we've done during this pandemic, what others say we're going to do in the future, and with NBAF coming online in 2022, 2023, we can tell people with a straight face, we really are the Silicon Valley of bioagro defense. And that's something I think is going to help not only humankind as we go forward, but certainly will help K-State, Kansas, and the region grow. Next slide, please, Jordan. Faculty and staff is theme 5. Of course, the major impact of the pandemic was on our people. At the outset, we decided to continue paying all employees even while the state was under stay-at-home orders. And there's a lot of uncertainty of where we might head. As the situation continued, we had to make fiscally responsible decisions, and they caused, of course, a lot of pain for everyone, some more than others, but pain for everyone. We had to implement emergency furloughs, administrative furloughs, and I can tell you, when I came to K-State in 2016, I never thought that would be part of our charter, is to implement those. Hiring freeze, voluntary pay reductions. So everybody is participating in the pain, so to speak, everybody. And it's what we're going to have to do, unfortunately, to get through these really tough spots. The bright spots of the situation, though, were the courageous responses of our faculty and staff. The faculty pivoted to online in 2 weeks' time. So some of you know I co-teach, but the real professor does most of all of the hard work. I don't know how we did that. My hat's off to you. The Keep Teaching website was created to help faculty navigate the changes, so there was some help. 443 faculty completed the online Course Design Institute. And faculty and staff encouraged students and each other through many K-State Strong videos. And of course, we developed a K-State Strong Fund to help those that were experiencing economic issues. We developed a COVID-19 website, fairly robust website, to communicate the massive amount of information needed by all members of our community. And I know it kept our communications and marketing folks really scrambling to keep up with all the information we were trying to impart. Having said all of that, it was just recently released that K-State was ranked number 9 as the best employer in the state by a Forbes survey. This survey started last October and went through May. So it's pre-COVID, post-COVID surveying. And the results were based on employee ratings in the survey. As I recall, we're the only higher educational institution in the top 10. And our sister university down the river, I think, is in the 20s somewhere. Not that that's important, just saying. Next slide, please, Jordan. So while we were in the midst of all that, we had just brought on some new folks, and some during the pandemic. Jeannie Brown Leonard came to us from Virginia. She's the Vice Provost for Student Success. And you'll see in a minute how we're doing, but Jeannie knows there's a lot more to do in student success and has been working hard with us, I think, since January. Sherry Crittenden is our new general counsel. She came from Texas, Dallas, Texas, been on board since essentially 1 July, but she actually started working before that when we were dealing with some social justice issues here on campus. Sherry was a major player in helping us think our way through that. Karen Goose comes all the way from Kansas City. She's our Vice Provost for Enrollment Management. Ben Ning came all the way from Michigan, Associate Provost for Institutional Research. And then Matt O'Keefe, Dean of the Carl R. Ice College of Engineering. And we welcome all of these new faces to our campus. They've all made major contributions, even though some of them haven't been here all that long. Some just a matter of a couple months, some for 6 or 7 months, and Ben Ning maybe a little bit longer than that, but have made some great contributions so far, and welcome to our new team. And then Dr. Chuck Tabor, our provost, just announced that Claudia Perescu will start on January 10th, 2021, as Carol Shanklin begins retirement. She's coming from Michigan, the state of Michigan again, and she'll be the new dean of our graduate school. So we've got we continue to attract top talent to Kansas State, and these are some great examples of that top talent that are going to help move our university forward. Next slide, please. Facilities and infrastructure. The pandemic caused a few delays in our construction progress, and we looked hard at our learning spaces with students and faculty health in mind. Before any classes could resume this fall, 755 learning spaces were evaluated for ventilation and COVID capacity. Many were taken offline before they could meet the standards, causing many course modalities to change. 289 classroom technology upgrades across 3 campuses were conducted so we could open this fall. And I think there was a photo finish on several of those. But despite COVID-19, some projects continued, although with some delays and interruptions. Rising from adversity, Hill Library's first floor and second floors are now open to students. Renovation of the rest of the building is slated to be complete in January of 2021. So as the students come back for the spring semester, the library should be essentially fully open. The multicultural student center ribbon cutting will be on November 20th, and that's been staying on schedule through all of this. The McCain Auditorium lobby expansion began in July and is scheduled to be complete in the spring of 2021. And you ought to walk by it. It's McCain. The front of McCain doesn't look like anything you would recognize right now. Due to construction supply chain issues and other concerns resulting from COVID-19 pandemic, the Derby Dining Center project was not able to be completed at the beginning of the fall 2020 semester as we had all hoped. And Dr. Lane, our Vice President for Student Life, is working alternatives for that, especially as the weather gets colder. It's not going to be quite as easy to service those students that need to be fed. But in usual K-State fashion, Dr. Lane and his friends will make sure that works out okay. And then in August, we announced a KDOT grant for the EDGE Collaboration District. Now, some of you might not be aware of what the EDGE Collaboration District is. It is what we used to call the North Campus Corridor, but it's been branded as the EDGE Collaboration District, and it's where talent meets innovation and research. The KDOT grant allows us to go on to the next 2 phases of the improvements to Kimball and that North Corridor area. So we were fortunate to get those contributions. The university chips in some, and so does the city, and that work will continue. So by 2022, most of Kimball will be brand new, but we're going to obviously have to live through some more renovation as they continue to make it a much safer place up there on the North Corridor, and a place that attracts industries from all around the world, the kind of infrastructure that they would expect and demand. Next slide, please. One of the things about K-State athletics you ought to be most proud of is they've achieved a balanced budget for 11 straight years. And it's also one of the lowest in the Big 12. One of approximately 20 departments in the whole country that operates without direct state tuition or student fee funding. Think about that. Only 20 other departments across the whole country that doesn't get state tuition or student fee funding. You've probably noticed, if you've driven anywhere close to the stadium, Bill Snyder Family Stadium, that construction began on the Shamrock Zone South End Zone project, which is scheduled for fall 2021 completion. They launched a list of 2020-2021 goals as part of the department's diversity and inclusion plan in step to take action on social justice issues. So athletics is a really robust plan across all teams, sports, staff, coaches, everyone to take action for to provide an environment that is inclusive and where students that are hurting because of what's going on in the rest of the country can be accommodated. Really proud of our athletic department and Gene Taylor for taking that on, and all our coaches for embracing it, and our student athletes for participating in the development of that plan. And we continue to navigate through the COVID-19 pandemic and have implemented thorough student athlete testing and monitoring, stadium fan policies, and budgetary plans in an effort to play games and with fans to some degree anyway. And I would say so far so good. The football game did not result in a spike in COVID cases, and we're taking steps while students were, I think, really following the protocols well. It was a little too dense in the student section, so there are already steps and plans being made for the game on October 3rd spread them out even further. But they were all wearing their mask, as were other patrons in that stadium. And I think the fact that we haven't had a spike in cases due to that event shows the protocols that were being implemented worked. We just got to hope they continue to work. Next slide, please. Just this month, we received word that K-State received the HEAT Award for the 7th year in a row. Nice work on everybody's part. We continued at the Multicultural Center throughout the pandemic with the ribbon cutting, as I said, scheduled for November 20th. We started Community Action Talks, or CATS, C-A-T small s, in June after some of the social unrest in the country and some of the issues right here on our K-State campus. These are panel discussions of timely topics such as racism, coronavirus, and free speech. Lots of people, lots of faculty, lots of staff have participated in those, and they are very, very well attended. In addition, if you haven't, go check out the diversity dashboard that was created on our K-State website. Walk the Talk, 11-step action plan for a more inclusive K-State. There are 8 student-related action steps. If you're going to count real carefully, you're going to find out you only see 6 of them, but 2 action steps have been incorporated into 1 action step, sorry. And then 3 faculty staff related action steps. And when you click on, it's interactive, so when you click on a particular action, you'll find out what's trying to be accomplished, what the goals are, who's leading that team, and the timeline for when it's supposed to be complete, and where they are in the progress. And you'll notice that each of those 11 actions, you'll see 9 up there because, like I said, 2 have been embedded in other 1 action step. You'll see that we have senior administrators responsible for every one of them. And that's because we all think that's the thing to do to make sure these don't fall through the cracks, that we indeed do walk the talk. Talk's cheap, action is harder, and we want to take action. Next slide, please. Alumni Association in the pandemic. Well, license plate program continues to be the #1 license plate program in Kansas. The important thing is it raises more than $5 million for student scholarships and recognition programs. Also, the K-State Alumni Association is still #1 in the Big 12 for the percentage of alumni who are members. The support of our Alumni Association directly helps current and incoming students. Every year, the association awards more than $550,000 in student scholarships to more than 500 students. During the pandemic, the association started hosting Wildcat Chats, a new virtual event featuring many campus leaders to help K-Staters everywhere stay informed and entertained. President Myers, Provost Tabor, and Amy Button-Renz were the panelists for the very first event that had more than 500 live attendees and has more than 1,000 views on YouTube. In like manner, don't change the slide, in like manner, at the foundation, they've had to learn to live in a virtual world, very difficult. We were planning a big in-person celebration for the conclusion of our Innovation and Inspiration campaign, and instead had to do that virtually and did it in 3 segments. I hope you've watched it. If not, go watch them. Faculty, staff, and students participate in all of those, and they are inspiring. It's not only how successful we were in the campaign, but what it's doing for K-State. That's the bottom line. What's it doing for K-State? And then we had our first virtual trustee meeting just last week, and I haven't seen the survey results yet, but we think that went well as well. So everybody is adapting to COVID. So that was some of our themes kind of looked at from a COVID lens. So let's now go to 2025. Next slide, please, Jordan. And a more usual sort of presentation that you used to, and that's where we kind of review the numbers and how we're doing over 10 years of 2025 guiding us. Next slide, please. So we're continuing to see record research expenditures and record research award dollars. Expenditures reached a new high of $218.7 million in FY19, and that was a 36% increase from fiscal year 2010. So as I said earlier, we know this just doesn't happen by chance. It takes a lot of people to make this work. We have great researchers here at the university and the administrative people to help them find the right grants, apply for those grants, and then get the awards. And so we thank everybody involved in that process. Next slide, please. Record freshman to sophomore retention rate, 87%. Look where we started, 81% in fall of 12. Here we are in fall of 20, 87%. Our end goal, we'd be really happy if we got to 90%, but 87% stacks right up there with almost any university and better than most. And then the graduation rate is at 67% now, up from the previous year of 65%, and up 11 percentage points since the plan was put in place. The goal is 70% by 2025. And these are things that Jeannie Brown Leonard and her team and all of us, faculty and staff, all of us will work towards improving as we go forward. Next slide, please. If we look at doctorates conferred, up from the previous year of 207 and up 45 since the plan was put in place, nearly a 28% increase. And then faculty awards, 40 since 2009. And you'll see in a later slide when we talk about the foundation and what they've done, 17 were added in 2020. So this number is 40 by this slide. It's going up above that, of course, with the additional 17. Next slide, please. So here's the line that shows the money that has been raised by our foundation and by our donors and our friends. We did complete the celebration of the Innovation Inspiration Campaign this summer and fall. Nobody believed, I think, when we started this campaign 10 years ago, that we would raise $1.6 billion in philanthropic gifts. It was a Manhattan couple, K-State graduates both, that gave the last gift that put us over the $1.6 billion mark. That was, I think, 10 days before we closed the campaign. And wasn't sure we might be standing here and say, well, we raised almost 1.6, but because of this very generous couple that has been very generous to K-State throughout the years, we made it over the $1.6 billion mark. Fundraising in FY20 was $177.4 million. You can see where that ranks with other big years. That resulted in a couple of things like 162 new scholarships. And of this total, I just would point out that about a quarter of it was for athletics. And I don't know what the right balance is there, but that appears to be a pretty good balance. Next slide, please. And then here's the endowment. It's grown to that number you see on the right, $628 million. To be competitive with our peers today, that number ought to be $1 billion. So we've got some work to do, but the foundation has a plan to get there. How much COVID will impact that, because development work right now is very, very difficult with travel restrictions, making it even more so. But this is a record endowment, $628 million, and that's an 86% increase since FY11. And since FY17, more than 375 new scholarship funds have been added. So we've got more to do, but this is really good work by our foundation, our friends, our donors, faculty and staff to go help meet donors and inspire them to give their resources to move K-State forward. Next slide, please, Jordan. So we've published a lot of this, but in case you haven't been doing a lot of reading on this particular subject, you can see these are lost revenue in a couple of segments there. The March to June segment, clearly we had increased expenses, and then we had lost revenue in all those institutions and those units that you see below that. FY21, we estimate 51 million from projected tuition and fees. Revenue decline, even though going into this fall, we thought we were going to have a slight bump, but COVID took that away from us, I think. We have uncertain state funding. Right now, the state took the increase the legislature gave us and took that $11 million away from the region system. So far, that's the extent of any allotments that have been given to us. But the state is experiencing decreased tax revenues, although in the last couple of rounds, the tax revenues are actually higher than anticipated. But we'll see what it turns out to be at the end of the year. This is one of the bigger uncertainties that we're trying to deal with to figure out what's going to happen to state funding. And then, of course, reopening expenses, of which we got a lot of help from Spark funding to help us through that. So on the bottom right there, it talks about the unknowns. And, you know, are we going to have to give refunds for parking or housing if we had to go all online? The lost sales and revenue, and where that's really coming to be a problem, is in the student union, because the things are down there anywhere between 70 and 90% in terms of revenue, because people, it's just not getting the traffic. And McCain, of course, still has overhead, but they're not hosting any shows. So we have other units like that on campus that are not able to produce revenue, but have expenses to include debt to service, mortgages to service. And that's a problem. Next slide, please, Jordan. Last fall, we talked about a 2025 refresh, and we came around to all the colleges, Chuck and I did, to get ideas. And then suddenly all our energy was spent on responding to the COVID pandemic. So we think we need to pause our plan for the refresh and make it our priority to recover from this crisis and implement our strategic enrollment plan. Next slide, please. So here are our priorities going forward. We're going to suspend the 2025 refresh. Now, the 4 strategic initiatives that were in that refresh will continue. A lot of the good ideas will not be tossed away, because we're looking to launch a new strategic planning process post-COVID that will have a 10-year horizon. And then we'll, of course, furnish a 10-year K-State 2025 report. I think you can tell from these numbers, despite massive reductions in state funding, enrollment decline, all sorts of issues, all our metrics, all the things we're measuring are going up. And that's the value, one of the big values of a plan. And so we got to get around to finding the intellectual energy and horsepower to recover and have a plan that goes out, like I said, with a 10-year horizon. And the priorities for FY21 broadly are just our overall response to COVID-19. We got to have a laser-like focus on enrollment, and our team is doing that. And everybody, I think the colleges, the faculty, everybody that can help is helping there. Financial sustainability, we've got to make sure that we can pay the bills, pay the debt, and take care of our people. And it's a balancing act of enormous proportions. We're dedicated to doing that. And then, of course, making sure that we're all healthy and that the well-being of our students, faculty, and staff and community are uppermost of mind. And while it doesn't say it there, mental health is becoming a real issue. And we know that. And we're taking an extra special look at mental health, and are we prepared to provide all the help that we need to provide to make sure that mentally we are as healthy as we are physically. And the good news is our Thomas Lane, Dr. Lane, and this is one of the areas that he has been working on as long as he's been in this business. And to have him as our Vice President for Student Life and overseeing Lafayette Health Center, I'm sure we'll come up with even new programs to make sure we're all, faculty, staff, and students, mentally healthy, because this is not easy. And I think we all know that. Next slide, please. I'm just going to correct this slide. That number 1 bullet in the upper left, it says hired critical new leadership positions. They are not new positions. They are new leadership, but the positions were positions that were just vacant, waiting to hire, that were harvested as we changed how we organized our enrollment and recruiting management. So they're not new positions. They are old positions repurposed. We've got, as I introduced on the previous slide, we've got great candidates in there, and they've already shown success. Our marketing teams, if you've noticed, have deployed new communication strategies and new campaign designed to expand our recruiting funnel and generate more applications. We have dramatically revamped our scholarship and tuition strategies to reach new markets, including out of state. Maybe you noticed our announcement about in-state tuition for those in the state of Missouri. We implemented a new CRM system to help us coordinate across all colleges and campus badly needed and done very, very quickly. One of the quickest employments of something like that across the system that I've ever seen. And as we close, and before we go to questions, I'd like to share with you our newest recruiting video. So Jordan, if you'd start that, please.
Do you hear that? It's the sound of the world waiting, listening for the next great story, that speechless moment of the next breakthrough, or reveling in the sounds of a silenced pandemic. It's the story of individuals becoming more, the chorus of the next generation. There's a world out there waiting to see what you make it.
Okay, just a sample of our new recruiting videos. Also, if you haven't checked out the new admissions site on our website, it's been totally revamped and it's much simpler. Before it was very difficult to figure out where to go to find out anything about enrolling at K-State. Now it's much, much easier. So Dr. Markham, I turn it back to you as the facilitator for questions, and I'll stand for questions along with the team that's behind me somewhere here.
Thank you, President Myers. Thank you for your presentation. We really appreciate it. And I will just let everyone know that we do have not only President Myers, but many cabinet members available to answer questions. I'm going to start first with some questions I've received from our various Faculty Senate caucuses. But if you have additional questions you'd like to raise, please do so in the chat and we'll get to as many of those as we're able today. All right, our first question I will address to Provost Tabor. The RCM model does not expressly account for research and other scholarly activities, and we all know that RSCAD is expensive. But RSCAD is also what gives status to the university, which in itself attracts students. For a college that is research heavy, such as arts and sciences, the RCM model appears to be unfairly punitive, particularly when imposed on top of years of underinvestment. Given the serious negative impacts that will result from the continued budget decline, would the provost consider reevaluating the RCM model sooner rather than later so that it can better support RSCAD?
That's a great question. Thank you. And thanks for everybody for joining us today. So this is something that I've been thinking about since I've been here, and I've been talking with faculty and PIs and researchers and scholars across the university about how we can support RSCAD. It's true that the current model does not include any direct support for RSCAD activities, in that it's actually like the old model. That is, the old model also did not contain any direct support for RSCAD activities. This is something that I believe we do need to address. However, I think we're very early in the budget model, and I don't think that we want to rush this. We committed in setting up the model to not be a university that chased its tail, constantly changing the model in order to try to improve. We certainly are keeping track of the things that we know we need to do in order to improve the budget model. And we will address them, but on the regular timeline. Let's keep in mind that we just finished the first year of implementation of this budget model. So I think we need to let it play out as planned. That's I think what we need to do before the budget review panel. We'll take a look at the model and start to make recommendations about how we can change it.
Thanks, Provost Tabor. I'll address our next question to Greg Willems. This is about foundation. So our campus hasn't experienced the tremendous drops in enrollment that some institutions have, but we were already in a perilous financial position before the COVID-related budget crisis, with cross-campus inequities and pockets of extreme understaffing. It would be very helpful to see the foundation undertake bold initiatives to help the campus weather this crisis time. While the special fund to receive employees' contributions is laudable, what the campus needs is an infusion of external dollars as well, not just contributions from within our community. Are there such initiatives already underway?
Good afternoon, Dr. Markham, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. Let me begin by offering my compliments to the university faculty and staff, along with the president, for their incredibly noble and hard work during this time. The question astutely recognizes that we've been in a state of decline and financial challenge for quite some time before the effects of the COVID pandemic. In alignment with university leadership, we always believe that the best support we can generate is gifts that simultaneously serve today's needs and tomorrow's opportunity to earn our way out of this crisis to a state of more stable and sustainable growth. Fortunately for us, this is also the most compelling dynamic for our donors that we work with. And specific to the point and desire to see the foundation undertake bold initiatives to help the campus weather the crisis, a couple of things I'd point out. Through bold fundraising acts this past year, we secured a $5 million gift that is funding the majority of the institution's reinvention of enrollment management, brand marketing, and signature student recruitment and retention program efforts. We also secured several $1 million gifts, cash gifts that are immediately available for student aid to attract and retain students and really address the attrition that we've had. Without these gifts, I guarantee the university, the modest decline we've experienced in enrollment this fall would have been much worse. And to the point, a couple of the other points in the question, when the furloughs first happened, what was immediately clear to the president and myself and others is we didn't have any funds to really address staff challenges like this. We had quickly engaged a very few donors to come up with some funds. We raised over $400,000 within a matter of weeks to create a critical program with a very simple process to support these staff members. A half-page form filled out, and within 2 days they had a check to give them a bridge through this financial crisis. And I certainly want to commend President Myers for his contribution to that. Carl and Mary Ice and Mary Veneer were two other signature donor families to this, along with faculty and staff who contributed. Regarding the point about more dollars from outside sources, I think it's important to share a fact with the faculty and staff. You know, through the campaign that we just successfully completed, the $1.6 billion campaign, 40% of those dollars, over $600 million of that, came from out-of-state donors, the other 60% from in-state. So we certainly are constantly looking for outside sources. And then the last thing I would leave the audience with as a reminder is that, you know, we are aggressively growing our ability to continue to do more for the university. Our 3-year fundraising average has grown by over 25%, going from a $150 million average to a $188 million average. And we continue to have other plans in place to grow this throughout the future to deliver more benefit for K-State. So I hope this gives a little bit of detail on how we are boldly doing things to serve the institution today and tomorrow.
Thanks, Greg. I'll address the next question to Provost Tabor. The furloughs are based upon projected budget shortfalls. Now that the 20th day numbers are in, do we have a better idea of how close these projections were, at least for the fall semester, to what we actually incurred?
So we have some preliminary analyses. Ethan Erickson has done those and is working on a more detailed analysis that we'll first share with the deans and vice presidents who have budgetary responsibility for units, and then we'll share it out as we always do in our regular communications. But we're not ready for me to reveal anything now because I'm not confident that I have a full understanding at this point of the situation, just on the basis of this preliminary analysis.
Okay, so more to be determined in the future. The next one, President Myers, the loss of enrollment and budget crisis are not issues for just 1 or 2 colleges, but for the whole university. In these times, it's important to morale and our ultimate success that we face this crisis working together and not every unit looking out for itself. PPM 4085 specifies that it's the president who makes the decision on furloughs. Why were decisions on whether furloughs were needed delegated to the deans, resulting in very different treatment for faculty and staff, depending on which college they were in?
Well, I think the basic reason was that every college was given budget targets to hit. And every college was in a different place in how to hit those targets. And one thing I would say at the outset, every college and every administrative unit made sacrifices here. They may have looked different, but every college sacrificed. And so the budget model relies heavily on unit leaders, college deans to implement the budget. And so on that philosophy, we let the deans and our vice presidents deal with their budgets. That includes the president's office. So we don't have a lot of flexibility. We're a small office and we don't have a very big budget. So we turned to furloughs to handle our particular budget. If we'd had maybe another source of revenue somewhere, we might not have had to do that. And just because people didn't furlough doesn't mean they weren't hurt badly. Human Capital Services come to mind. They've cut positions for 3 years in a row. They didn't have to furlough this time because they were down to it and found another way to deal with it. They just couldn't cut anybody else. If you want your payroll done on time, you don't want them to cut those positions. So I just say everyone felt some pain, but we thought it was not the same across all units. But that doesn't mean that everybody didn't feel the pain. Everybody felt the pain. It was just some people felt it different than others. And I think having, edicting a one size fits all across the whole academy would not have been right either. That would have gotten just as many folks upset about that as the way we did it. So maybe there's no right way here. We thought this was the first way, is to make those who are responsible for their budgets deal with it in the way they thought would be most effective for their unit.
Thanks. The next question is also furlough related, and I'll ask Vice President for Human Capital Services to respond to this, Jay Stevens. And this is something that I've heard a number of times since we have the update to the spring calendar. So there are concerns related to the change in the spring calendar and how that may impact furloughs, especially when the school districts have not made the change to their spring calendars. Are there any plans to help address these concerns?
I can't start my video, so you get to look at my docs and anticipating popcorn. So for whatever reason, otherwise you'd see my face. But so as far as the furloughs and spring break, the university understood that when spring break was eliminated, it was going to create some problems, particularly with school spring breaks and the coordination with that. However, the greater concern for us continues to be one of our big guiding principles is the health and safety of our community. And having large number of students exit the community and then come back doesn't play very well with that particular principle. There is an extra week on winter break, so hopefully that will help. We realize it's not ideal, but with health and safety, that was the primary concern in that decision.
And so Jay, I might just follow up. Are there plans for how faculty and staff will be able to alter their furlough plans for those who had spring break identified as the week that they plan to take some furlough days?
I mean, as far as plans, they're still going to have to hit their furlough days. They're just going to have to work that out with their departments in terms of when it might be the best to take those, whether it's best to take those during that extra week of winter break now or do it a different way.
Thanks. The next question I'll address to President Myers. What is the plan to allow the football team to be able to demonstrate support for the lives of the Black students on our campus and in our country?
So, as I mentioned in the talk, that athletics has a diversity and inclusion plan they've been working on very hard, have worked on. It's finished, product of student athletes, staff, coaches, and input from the campus. People like Brian Samuel's been part of that, and others here on campus. And they'll continue to execute that going forward. And so what we saw on September 26th was 12th, whatever day that was, we played our first game against Arkansas State. That was, had been declared a Unity Day for the football team. Soccer, who's playing this fall, will have a Unity Day. It was supposed to be tonight, but TCU had to cancel because of COVID concern or COVID related issues. And women's volleyball, which starts tonight, I think tonight is their Unity game. So you'll see different patches on jerseys and different probably mottos on warm-ups and so forth. And I would anticipate that'll continue, maybe not in that exact form as we go through this season and beyond. But this is an issue that athletics has taken on as a very serious issue with its all the student athletes, everything they decide they do as a team, which is appropriate. And so I think they have a really good plan. My hat's off to Gene Taylor and his crew for the way they've worked all this.
Thank you. The next question I'll address to Dr. Brian Samuel. So how should students and faculty respond to those who do not understand the difference between support for the Black Lives Matter organization and support for the lives of our students and faculty of color?
Thank you, Dr. Markham. That is a great question, and I want to thank you for posing it to me. I have some very candid thoughts and recommendations about this, and I would like to recommend that our students, faculty, and staff begin by addressing any misconceptions and false narratives around Black Lives Matter and what it actually means. Black Lives Matter is a human rights and a social justice issue, first and foremost, and it's born out of the fact that being only 13% of the United States population, Black men and women are murdered by the police at a rate of 30 to every 100,000 members of the population. That's followed second by Latinos, men and women at 10 per 100,000, and white at 7 per 100,000. So you can see that there's almost 4.25%, 4 times in a quarter times more higher for African Americans as it is for other populations, and more specifically white. Black Lives Matter is not a racial superiority issue or a complex, but rather it looks at the lack of humanity that is extended to African American citizens that are not threatening to the police. And then finally, Black Lives Matter never said that any particular life or any particular population or even profession didn't matter. The message is today, as it always was, that all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. So I would encourage all of our university community to work with others to help them understand these thoughts and ideals around the Black Lives Matter movement, and to encourage them to not attempt to separate the Black Lives Matter movement from the Black Lives Matter organization. And the reason I say this is to me, it kind of harkens back to a time when we were trying to remove the voters tax, right? The poll tax, the literacy test, the grandfather clauses, and all those things around voters' rights and voter suppression. It harkens me back to a time when we were working to end segregation in schools and public facilities and housing and hospitals and other places. It takes me back to this idea of equal rights for all citizens of these United States and its territories. And the way I would encourage us to think about it and engage our community members and others is, if you are in favor of those things, right, that Black Lives Matter, or if you're in favor of something like voters' rights or equal rights or desegregation of schools and public facilities, then it's kind of perplexing and something of a conundrum to be at a point to where you would not support the NAACP, whose very existence and mission is to bring these rights into fruition. So I kind of see Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter organization the same way I would see the NAACP.
Thanks, Dr. Samuel. The next question relates really to mental health, particularly for our students, but also for faculty and staff. I know this has been a major area of discussion among our faculty and staff. So Provost Tabor, with no spring break in March 2021, what other measures can the university take to help support students' mental health through their long period of no downtime? And then also the same goes for faculty and staff as well.
Absolutely, yes. And I so appreciate this question and the care for others that it displays, and that I've heard from so many other people. So I think most people know that we've set aside 2 days for wellness days that we have yet to schedule. We are going to be consulting with Student Governing Association leadership, faculty senate leadership, staff in various areas. We'll be consulting exactly where we should deploy those for maximal effect. On top of that, I really think we need to think, and I've already launched with my own staff, and I spoke with faculty senate leadership who raised this with the president and me the other day, that I think the university needs to start really thinking about how we can support the mental health of all of our colleagues and students. And I think we need to really give some thought to that. This is going to be this is going to be a topic for the first Tuesday meeting coming up, where we'll do some brainstorming on ways that we can do this. I know there were some great ideas that came out of faculty senate leadership the other day, including acknowledging this problem at the beginning of meetings or at the beginning of class sessions, and providing access to resources to support people. You know, we're feeling so much stress. I know that I feel it. We're feeling so much, and we need to support each other. And again, we keep saying this, but it's just so centrally important. We need to show each other grace through this time, and understand that everybody is feeling these stressors.
Thank you. And I'm glad to hear that that's going to be a focus of a future First Tuesday meeting. I think that's fantastic. Provost Tabor, will there be any compensation for 9-month faculty who are required to contribute extra work over the summer while still off contract to revise their course planning in light of modality changes in order to meet the advanced university deadlines for contacting students?
So I don't believe we would be able to do that in our budget crisis. So I'm going to say that I'm not aware of any such plans, and I don't believe that we would be able to do that.
As states are emphasizing more on economic and workforce development, do you foresee the need to develop more certificate and 2-year programs?
Absolutely, and micro-credentials. You know, the groups that worked over the last few months, starting before March and finishing up as the COVID crisis was hitting us, groups that were working on the strategic initiative for academic innovation. Both of those groups, one focused on pedagogy in general and one focused on online education, strongly recommended that we really look to this market. This was an issue pre-COVID, and it was an opportunity pre-COVID. It is even more so now. So I absolutely agree with that point.
Okay, the next is nationally there is free college initiative discussions. Do you think that Kansas will plan to introduce something similar? If so, what would be the impact on K-State programs?
So I think it's really unlikely. Those programs are very, very expensive for the state. And as we heard from President Myers earlier, the state's not going to be in a financial situation to consider that. I was at a university in a different state previously that attempted to implement this, New York State, in what was called the Excelsior program. And it was unsuccessful largely because the legislature did not allocate sufficient funds to make that work. And so it turned into a loan program and a lot of hard feelings for citizens of New York. These programs need a great deal of planning. They need a lot of financial support, and I don't see our state having the financial wherewithal to do that.
Will there be any issue of reduced state funds tied to limiting tuition increases and its impact on K-State budgets?
I'll take that on. I don't think so. There was reported to have been a connection a couple of years ago. It turned out that wasn't. I talked to the Speaker of the House of Representatives in the Kansas legislature, and he said that wasn't connected in his mind. So we'll see going forward. Every legislature is different. This one will have many new elected members, and they may come up with something like that. But I think it'd be a little unusual. They haven't done that in the recent past. The Board of Regents is the one that will always approves our plans, and we'll see. I mean, could it happen? Yes. Will it happen? I don't know. I would suspect not.
Thanks, President Myers. I'll go back to Provost Tabor for the next question. How engaged are the deans in decision-making regarding academics, student breaks, for example, spring break, class schedules, etc.?
Yeah, before we make any decisions along those lines, we have a discussion of it in Dean's Council. And Dean's Council has been meeting on a weekly basis with 2 or 3 hour meetings every week. They've been heavily engaged in all of this decision making.
President Myers, I'll go to you for the next question. Riley County Health Department has stated the seriousness COVID-19 has on students and the community. Why do you refuse to act as if COVID-19 is not a threat? Is money the reason? If not, what is it?
Well, I don't think we act that way. We've continually said that COVID-19 is a threat, and I think it's guided, the threat of this illness has guided our decisions from, well, back in January and February, we were trying to track it nationally. So we were one of the first universities in the nation to ask students not to come back after spring break, just to protect the community and protect themselves. And we continue to do that. We're going to spend many millions of dollars of federal money to help mitigate the impact of COVID. We think it's very serious. And we agree with the county. But we also think that if you take the right mitigation steps, you can mitigate the impact on our students, faculty, and staff. And I think if you look at the data so far, that pretty much pans out. So I'm knocking on wood here, but we haven't had major outbreaks or any outbreaks that I know of in our residence halls. We are taking extraordinary measures there to keep students and RAs and staff safe. Our classrooms are not a place where COVID breaks out as well. Sports teams, football with fans, and on it goes. So I think we can deal with this. Where it breaks down, if it breaks down, is behavior off campus. And we all know that. Everybody that participates in certain behaviors off campus knows the risk involved, but we are taking it very, very seriously. I would also say that as we went through the summer, Chuck and I, and I'm sure others, got lots of cards and letters from students and parents hoping that we would open up in a face-to-face mode. Now, we did that to some degree, but it was face-to-face hybrid was the more traditional mode that we opened up in. And all of that was to mitigate the chance of this virus spreading any more than it does. So I'm not sure what the basis of the question is, but I think we understand this threat, and we have populations among us that are much more at risk. For instance, me, than an 18 to 24-year-old population. But we're not minimizing that. We're not, at least in my mind. So I'll just leave it there.
Thanks. I'll address the next question to you as well. When will the blanket ban on out-of-state and out-of-country travel be lifted? Are there particular indicators we're watching for this issue?
That's a great question. And I think that's something we're going to need to take up with our team and do a little study on that to see when we can lift that ban. I know it inhibits a lot of the things we do, conferences and so forth that are really important to the professional development of our faculty and staff and students for that matter. So that's a great question. We've just kind of left it in place. And I know I haven't given it much thought since we put it in place. It doesn't look like this country, with our rising cases and the number of deaths, it's a good time to retract that ban, but we ought to look at it. And we ought to determine when it would be good to do that. And can we do it on a case-by-case basis? Are there some things that we could do safely that make a lot of sense that aid in professional development? So,
Mindy, if I could just add to that, we do already have in place an exception process. So it is possible to travel after you go through an exception process and get approval through that process.
Thank you both. Just as a reminder to everyone who's participating, we have about 20 minutes left. So if you have additional questions that you would like to ask the president or members of the cabinet, please feel free to include those in the chat. Our next one I will direct to Provost Tabor. What day of the week will Wellness Day be on? If on a Monday or Friday, it will make a trip out of town and back home the most likely result. How does that balance against COVID mitigation?
Yeah, this question points exactly to the challenge of making this decision. There is pressure from some students and some faculty to try to tack this onto a weekend, and that the benefit of that is that gives you a longer period of time, a longer break, a greater opportunity to relieve stress. On the other hand, it invites travel. So this is why we need a consultation. This is not a decision I'm just going to make. I want to talk with people, get multiple points of view. Then we will make a decision about what's the best way to deploy these 2 days, because it's a difficult trade-off.
It is. Someone said, maybe I missed this. Do you think there will be a return to campus for all staff in 2021?
That's good. I'll attempt. It's a great question. You know, we will pay attention to what's happening to the pandemic. I think there are a lot of things that could change the course of this. Is the pandemic plus the flu worse than anything we've experienced yet? Which might come out with one answer. Do we have a vaccine? That might be another answer. Do we have really good therapeutics that once you get the disease, you can mitigate the impact it has on your body? That's another factor we'd have to consider. But I think as we look to 2021, I think we're going to open. Right now, our plan would be to keep the campus open once the semester is over. And then when we start, I think it's January 25th, when students return, the campus will be open all that time over the holidays, except for the normal times when it's closed. It'll be open and research will be going on, and we'll have some faculty, some graduate students here and that sort of stuff that are helping with what goes on normally between semesters. So I don't know what the question of all staff. Clearly the residence halls will be shut down for a while and then open back up, and dining as well. But no, we're anticipating to look a lot like now, and with the outside chance that it could look a little bit better, a little bit more normal, if you get that.
Thanks. Thomas Lane, Dr. Lane, I might ask you to share a little bit about testing on campus and what that looks like from respect to surveillance testing, where we are now and where you project that will go in the future.
Thanks for the question, Dr. Markham. Very pleased to share at the State of the University address that we are planning on expanding our asymptomatic testing through Lafine. Our goal is on October 5th. We'll be opening up our COVID-19 asymptomatic testing site to all enrolled students, both on and off campus. And students would be able to make appointments Monday through Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. On their MyLafine patient portal. And so the asymptomatic testing, we believe, will help mitigate the spread of the virus through early detection. We're offering several incentives for students to participate in the asymptomatic testing protocol, ranging from 30-minute massages at Lafine Health Center, Amazon gift cards, all the way up to the chance to win a $500 scholarship. So we're hoping with these incentives, we'll get a lot of participation from our students. We do anticipate, based upon increased test volume, that we'll probably have, as we're doing asymptomatic testing through PCR testing, that there'll probably be about a 48 to 72 hour turnaround time estimated for the asymptomatic students. For symptomatic patients, that window of time is still within 48 hours. We do anticipate, we have on order some additional lab equipment, Abbott ID machines that we hope will be able to give a rapid response with regards to test results, 15-minute results. And so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we're able to get those machines soon. They are on order, and our reps are working very hard to try to get those to Lafine as quickly as we can.
Thanks. Next question is, what is being done to protect employees that are most vulnerable with regard to both COVID-19 for those lower wage employees who must work in person and with future potential furloughs? Jay, if you could take that one.
Okay, I still can't start. Oh, wait. You're gonna let me start my video. Here I am. You don't get to look at the talking dachshund anymore. So here I am. As far as that goes, we've had a number of people who've been working on campus, quite a number in person since the crisis began. And we've done a lot of work with those units to design work in such a way that it's as safe as it possibly can be. We've done a lot of ordering of PPE. We've altered procedures. I'm sure that Thomas Lane could talk a little bit about what housing and dining's done to make things safe, and they've done quite a bit. Cindy might be able to talk about facilities and the things that they've done to try and keep people safe. A lot of partnership with environmental health and safety, a lot of work with Elliott Young and risk and compliance. But we work really hard to try and make that as safe as it possibly can be, and make sure that people have the supplies that they need to be safe, and that, you know, social distancing, all those parts and pieces are in place. So quite a bit has been done.
Thomas, would you like to add anything in your area?
Well, I think Jay covered it really well. We've been very cognizant about how do we make sure to keep, for example, our dining employees safe. Thus far, we've had no outbreaks that have occurred within. My apologies. My apologies. I didn't recognize I was off screen. In regards to our dining services staff, I know that our housing and dining staff have been very conscientious about keeping social distancing. We've had no outbreaks thus far, knock on wood, in regards to our dining centers. We are looking at how do we, as the weather becomes a little colder, how do we use our dining spaces for indoor seating? And so we'll be having really intentional conversations about how do we keep the safest environment we can while creating a comfortable environment for our students and our dining services staff to serve meals on a daily basis in our residence halls.
Thanks. And Cindy, would you like to add anything about what's being done in facilities?
And I am sorry, my internet went out, right? So I missed all of that question, Mindy. Do you mind repeating?
Absolutely.
Or did Thomas steal it?
So Thomas addressed it relating to his area was student life, but what is being done to protect those employees that are most vulnerable with regard to both COVID-19 for those lower wage employees who must work in person and with potential furloughs?
So we are very reliant. I do want to take this opportunity to the facility staff for all the work that they have been doing. They have been working on campus throughout these 6 months and making sure that the cleaning is completed and everything is in place. And so we, you know, just strongly encourage them to reach out to employee relations folks if they need support through this time, and making sure that we can provide whatever assistance that we can. I mean, it's a challenge, to be quite frank, with retaining employees that are in that salary group. And it's not competitive, and they are able to find other positions in other places. And so we will be looking at, you know, what we can do, but with the current budget challenges that we have, you know, it's just will be very difficult to do anything financially. So we'll have to try to do other things to help improve morale and try to support our employees as much as we can.
Thank you. Provost Tabor, is there any thought being given to modifying time distributions to match the increase in time many are spending on teaching and service duties due to COVID-19 and social injustice?
So there's been a little bit of discussion just in the Provost's office. This is the first time I've heard a suggestion coming from outside for this. There are some challenges with doing that. You know, we certainly wouldn't want to do anything by fiat about that, but it may be possible to offer opportunities of choice for faculty members on that. But we would have to, this is something we'd have to work out with the colleges and have department heads involved in those discussions as well. It's a good question, and I will reach out to the deans. So far as I know, the conversation has been limited to within the provost office staff.
Thanks. I received a question, will the university start doing antibody testing for employees and students that think they may have been infected in the past, but were not able to be tested at the time of infection? Thomas, I know that you've been involved in many discussions about testing. Do you have any thoughts on if there's going to be antibody testing in the future for employees and students that think they might have been infected?
We do have capacity for antibody testing. That's a conversation that I'd want to have with our COVID team that meets twice a week, and then also with our Lafayette health staff to talk about what kind of capacity issues we would have and supply issues we would have if we were going to do that on a broader scale. So I appreciate the question, and we'll have some further conversation about that.
The next question, I'll start with President Myers, and then Jeff Morris, if you want to jump in, please feel free. So other university COVID dashboards have more data conveyed in a more visual, graphical way and are updated more frequently. Are there plans to revise or improve ours?
Well, I'd say we're always looking for ways to upgrade our dashboard. Data has been difficult to harness. And I think initially overwhelmed by a lot of data. It should get better. We've now got a connection between Veterinary Diagnostic Lab and Lafine, where results are all done automatically and come back into the database automatically. So that should help us on the frequency of our updates, perhaps. And then just takes manpower to change websites around, and we have a lot of websites we're working on. The admissions website took an enormous amount of time. Jeff Morris over in communications and marketing doesn't have a lot of spare bodies, so we'll do what we can do. We do have all the links to the county and so forth, so you can see what's going on just outside of campus. If somebody has some specific suggestions, please send them to me or Jeff or Thomas, and we'll try to incorporate those.
Jeff, is there anything that you'd like to add about the dashboard?
Yeah, I would just say that we've also just we also got some Spark funds available. So we have hired a person to help us for the next till 30 December, who can help us specifically work on the dashboard and the data reporting. Again, a lot of it's been a very manual process up to now because the systems were not in place to do that. The other thing we have to keep in mind is that we're dealing with health data from people, and we also have to interface with the county, who's the ultimate arbitrator of that. So we meet with the county PIO 3 times a week. We're working on streamlining that process. We'd all like to have more frequent data more often, but we also want to make sure that it's accurate data. And one of the challenges we've had, quite honestly, has been we've had making sure that the data is accurate, because we want people to know the story as best we can tell it. We don't want to put data out there and then retract and say, well, they miscounted that or didn't count that. So it's something we're working on. We're going to put somebody against it for the next 90 days and hope that helps, and just see what we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lane, recognizing that student behavior off campus is contributing to high levels of COVID, what measures is K-State taking to address this? Is there an ongoing education campaign?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I appreciate the thought behind it in terms of an educational campaign. That's really been the heart of our Every Wildcat a Wellcat campaign, which is not just a one and done kind of advertisement, but it's really a pandemic long public health campaign, awareness campaign that's being coordinated through Lafine Health Center under the auspices of Dr. Jennifer Miller, who has her doctorate in public health. And so we've been doing a number of different videos, different social media postings, and continue to try to think of creative ways that we can reach students in why to engage in disease mitigation behavior, and also how to engage in disease mitigation behavior. And so they've done some great videos. We just had our WellCat ambassadors just recently had a talk with Lee Norman from KDHE in terms of how can students still have a social life in a pandemic. And so it was a great educational session. And we continue to use our student leaders as effective voices for conveying messages on how you can best mitigate disease. So that will continue to go on throughout the pandemic. And if there are ideas for ways to reach students in creative ways, don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Thanks. And Linda, would you care to share based on the community aspect, Linda Cook?
Sure, I'm happy to. I'll get my video going. We've been working very closely with the Manhattan community and the Riley County Health Department on a lot of COVID-related activities, and they recognize that when students and anyone go out into the community, things change as far as their perspectives on what they can do and shouldn't do. So using some additional Spark money, the city is working with a couple of agencies to develop a public campaign reminding everybody of the importance of wearing facial masks or face coverings, maintaining that social distancing and doing the hand sanitizing, and helping people understand that by doing that, they're really helping other people as well and showing respect for one another. So we'll start to see those campaigns coming out early October, and they're targeted at the different age groups, 18 through 24, the K through 12, older age groups and using all different sorts of communications channels, because everyone always listens to something that's unique and more tailored to themselves. So there will be a major campaign coming out from the city of Manhattan.
And Mindy, let me just add a little bit to this part of the conversation. Obviously, we're part of a community, but it is a community, and we wanted the help of the city and the county for all of us to be good partners in this. And maybe you've seen some of the letters we've written to the county or the city on this. We're known to have a great town-gown relationship. That has continued through this. I think we're in lockstep in terms of what we believe are the proper protocols off campus, face mask wearing, of course, and hand sanitation and social distancing, and a good relationship with the county as well, especially the county health department. Everybody knows in the community what it takes to stop the spread, and we need everybody's cooperation in that effort. We can't do it just alone at K-State. That's just not possible.
Thank you. Jay, I'll ask you the next question. Is it possible for Spark funds or other emergency funds to be used to reimburse departments for payroll expenses associated with the EPSLA?
So as far as I understand it, the Spark funds can only be used on activities that are specifically on planning activities or work directly spent on COVID-19. So they couldn't, if I was to go out on that leave and to go out for my job, HCS could not be reimbursed through Spark funding for that leave because I wasn't doing something directly related to COVID-19. So in that case, no. Unless the person, again, was directly working on only COVID-19.
Thank you very much. We are drawing near the end of our time together. I wanted to give President Myers, do you have any closing remarks that you would like to make?
Well, if I may, I'd like to kind of finish where we started, and that is with deep gratitude for the whole K-State family, the team, everybody that's been working on this issue very hard. This time will go down in the history books as a very unusual and challenging time for the world, for our country for sure, and for us here at K-State. And again, I think you ought to take pride in what you've accomplished. As I said, have we all been perfect? No, we have not been. But I think we responded in a logical, rational, data-informed way about what we were dealing with, and took what we think was the proper action. And we didn't do it alone. There were a lot of colleagues at the table on every decision we made. So we tried to do it with everybody's input, or symbolically, at least, everybody's input. We didn't just dream this up in Anderson Hall and say, here's what it ought to be. And we've worked with our community partners, I think, in a way that's really a model for the rest of the country. It's good cooperation. And if we have that, then we can get on top of this as we were before school started, and get it to a point where it's still a dangerous disease, particularly for some, that we can mitigate that and continue our mission here, our land grant mission, continue to be financially responsible and solvent and pay our debts, and keep our culture together, our K-State culture, which is a can-do culture for starters, and a lot of great teamwork where everybody chips in wherever they have to chip in. So I, for one, appreciate y'all. And I think we could be proud for a moment here, and then we got to get back to work, of course, but take the weekend to say, we really have accomplished a lot. And you may not be satisfied with everything's going perfectly, but you ought to be satisfied that we are living true to our ideals and our mission, and we're keeping people safe and healthy. Thank you. Thanks for being on the call.
Thank you. And I just want to take a moment to thank President Myers and the members of the cabinet for engaging in this discussion with us. I know faculty and staff all really appreciate having additional information, and you responding to these questions has been really helpful, as well as the information that President Myers shared in the State of the University address. So thank you very much. And thank you to all of you who participated and engaged in this activity. As a reminder, next Wednesday, we will have a meeting of the general faculty and unclassified professionals at 3:30. Invite you to engage in that discussion as well. So thank you all and have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Markham.